Unable to hear voice. Are you guys being able to hear me? Just comment a yes or no. Okay, okay. So Nitin, maybe you can check your audio on your side once. Okay, so I was just asking that from previous class, is there any questions, any doubts that you want me to answer before we get started today? Okay, no questions, no doubts. Everything is clear till here, right? So till now in Excel, we understood, how to look at the data, how to find missing data, how to navigate through the data, and also how to use basic mathematical statistical functions. Along with that, we understood advanced functions like lookups and index match, which can help us merge and join data from any end and work around with our data, right? A part or a bit that is missing in this whole exercise is to actually look at the analysis of the data, right? And that is something that we are going to learn for today. So let me just go to the sheet. Once again, I'm not being able to navigate the screen because of Zoom. Give me a minute. All right. So the last bit that was missing will be completed today. So today will be like your last lecture in Excel. So, so to start off with, we will understand how to analyze data in Excel in the most easiest form. Okay. So we'll start off with a topic called as pivot tables. Has anyone used pivot tables before? Have you used pivot tables, anyone? I'm sure that it's a very common thing. Um, okay. Pallavi says no. Then yes. Itabragna, yes. Okay. 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 Cool. So, to everyone who is looking at pivot tables for the first time or who is learning for pivot tables for the first time, pivot tables in Excel are an amazing tool for summarizing your data. Okay, it is used for summarizing, analyzing, exploring, and presenting large amount of data. Like if I give you 20 lines of text, let's say I give you a paragraph, like a 20-lined paragraph to you, and I tell you that summarize this whole 20 lines in 2 lines for me. You will basically create only 2-line summary out of those 20 lines, right? That's the work that pivot tables do. They they basically summarize a large amount of data in a very presentable format, and the use of pivot table is that it can quickly extract insights from your data, and you don't even have to write any complex formulas for anything of that sort. So it's a very interactive way to summarize and reorganize your data. and it takes that data from spreadsheet or wherever you want, and you can insert also wherever you want, right? So it summarizes data, it groups data, it filters data, it presents your data better, and etc. Let's have a look. So for that, what I'll do is I'll press Control A, which means I'll select the entire data over here, and then I'll click on Insert Pivot Tables. Pivot table. Now, when I click on Insert Pivot Table, this dialog box appears. In this dialog box, there are two sections. The first section is to choose the source, and the second section is to choose the target. Okay, this is the section where you will choose that where do you want to choose your data from, right? So this is the section where you will identify out of which data do you want to create your pivot table. What is the data out of which you want to create your pivot table? For us, it is automatically selected because I clicked on Control A, like I selected the entire data and I then clicked on Insert Pivot Table. So obviously my data is already selected over here. Okay, then I'll choose where do I want to place my pivot table. Do I want to place it in an external new worksheet, or do I want to place it in existing worksheet? If you want to click on, if you want to place it on an existing worksheet, you can click on the existing worksheet and you can choose any empty cell. If you choose any empty cell, it will basically create a pivot table right over there. So I'll choose this cell, okay? And I'll click on OK. The moment I do that, it creates a pivot table template and it shows on the right hand side a lot of details. Okay, these are the details that you can see on the right hand side. This is called pivot table fields. Okay, over here, this is called pivot table fields. So this is where you are being able to, this is where you will be able to see the rows, the columns, the values. You can create your pivot table using the pivot table fields over here. Everybody is being able to see my screen. Okay, so Abhishek, maybe just check it on your end. Okay, so here you can see that these are on the right hand side. You can see that, one second. Yeah, on the right hand side, you can see that these are your pivot table fields, right? So this is the field that will help you create your pivot table. So we'll just go over every field one by one, okay? So you see there is something called as rows, there is something called as columns, then you have values, and then you have filter. These four things make your pivot table, okay? However you want your pivot table to be with, these four values or these four fields will help you create it. First is rows. Rows is basically used to group your data. Okay, this is helpful for grouping your data. Okay. Sorry. What do I mean by that? Let's say you have a data like this, where you have fruits and the fruit price. So let's say you have apple, banana, apple, orange, banana. And let's say you have their price 20, 10, 30, 40, and 10. Okay, so if you put fruits, usually we always put usually we always put a categorical column, like categorical column in the sense a column that has categories, right? A column that has text values or category of data. Like if you see fruits, fruit has textual data, text data, and it also has categories, like different groups of data present inside it. So we usually put these kind of columns in rows. Why? Because then we will be able to create groups out of it. Like if I put fruits into rows, I will be able to create groups. One group will be for apple, one group will be for banana, another group will be for orange. So it's like putting similar data at one place. Okay. And choosing the unique values basically. Right. You can just choose the unique values out of a column, and based on those unique values, the rest of the calculations will be done. So what are the unique values in fruit column? Apple, banana, and orange. So one row will be created for apple, one row for banana, and one row for orange. Till here, was it clear? Okay. Next up, you have columns. So columns are basically same. You can use columns also for grouping. So rows will help you group vertically, right? And columns will help you group horizontally. Same thing, right? So till now, when you created the groups in rows, A, B, C got formed as groups like this. If you would have put this in columns, then in that case, the groups would have been like this: A, B, and O. So you will basically place them horizontally, and this is basically vertically. There will be situations where you will put both rows and columns. So it would form like a proper matrix kind of thing, right? Where maybe all the fruits will be on the rows, and in columns will be all the colors and etc. So likewise, you can group with multiple things using rows and columns. Okay. Then you have values. Values is the main data. Values, without values, you cannot have a pivot table basically. So values will contain the data that we summarize. What do I mean? What do I mean by that? This is the data that will be summarized. This is the data that Excel will basically process, right? Like for example, you have created the grids for apple, banana, and orange, right? You have created the groups for apple, banana, and orange. But then what will be the values corresponding to them? You will play with the price, right? It will either be sum of price or count of price or etc. Those are the values that come in values. Okay, the values part. And when we talk about it, it's actually called as aggregate functions. Aggregate functions are of five types, and there are only five possible values: count, average, min, max, average, and sum. Okay. These are the only five functions that are called aggregate functions. So for every apple, think about it logically. For every apple, can't you count the number of rows, or average out the number of prices, or find the minimum price, or for maximum price, or find the sum of price for every apple, or for every group for that matter? For every group, for apple, banana, and orange, I have put them in one group, one row. So for every row, can't I find what is the count, average, mean, maximum, or sum? Think about it logically. We will, right? If I give you, see, it's very simple, okay? If I give you if I give you five apples and I give you six bananas, okay? This is a grouped information. You know that there are six bananas and five apples. So out of 11 fruits that I gave you, you could summarize the information saying that there are six bananas, five apples. How could you do that? By grouping the fruits. So for one group is banana, another group is apple, and then you count the number of fruits across every group, right? So you got the point of grouping and values, summarization basically. What about others? Is it clear? Great. And filters are normal basic filters. Just helps you narrow down data. Like if you want to filter for certain period or anything, you can use filter. I'll show you a simple example. Like let's say I want to find per category, per region, what is the total sales. So I'll type it also over here. Category, let's say I want to summarize that category versus region versus total sales. Okay, so if I want to find category versus region, I can put either category in rows or in columns. Okay, so I'll put it in rows, looks more presentable. Now see what happens. All the categories come up over here, all the unique categories. Like this had so many rows. Out of those many rows, it could summarize the categories over here. Then what I'll do is I'll put the region in columns. So all the regions come up in columns. Okay. And I want total sales. So I'll put sales in values. And when I do that, a pivot table is already created. And if you look at values, the sales is taken as sum. So by default, any value that you give in values is taken as sum if it is a numerical column. If it is a textual column, it will by default take it as count. But you can always click on this small button and you can choose what do you want. You want average, you want max, min, count, sum, whatever you want. Okay, you can customize it. And if you see, there are extra columns also added, grand total, help you summarize and find the data even better. Now, if you see, there are filters also over here. If you click on this filter, you can exclude NA, which means null values are excluded. And now you can find for every category, look at this, for every category, bakery. In bakery in central, this was the total sales. In east, this was the total sales. In north, there was no sales. In south, west, and likewise. If you want to remove the grand total, you feel like you don't need it, just right click on grand total and click on remove grand total. Same over here. If you want to remove, right click and right click on grand total, not anywhere else. If you click anywhere else, it won't come. Right click on grand total and click on remove grand total. Now, if you see a complete summarized information, categories across regions, total sales present over here. So don't you think this is summarizing the data way more clearly? Out of all the raw data that you had, isn't this a good summary of your data? Isn't it easy to create this? Yes. In fact, you can do a lot more on this. If you just select this data, okay, and let's say I select this data, okay, only this part. I can go to insert and I can click on the charts. I can create a visualization over here. Okay, so let's see if there is any recommended chart. Okay, there is no recommended chart. So I can click on this. I can click on a bar chart. I can click on bar chart because there are categories. Since there are categories present over here, I can click on this bar chart and I can choose any bar chart. For example, I chose this one, the first one. And if you see, a bar chart is already created out of your data. So now for every category, you can see what has been the sales in every region. So easily over here, right? So was this clear for everyone? You can format your chart over here. If you can change your colors and etc. all over here. Is that clear for everyone? Was this clear for everyone?
Meghna, can you just show once again the chart thing? I thought my connection was just lost in a few seconds.
You can just select your data, whatever data you want to create your chart on. Then you can go to insert. Under insert, there is a whole group which is for charts and visualizations. So here you can click on bar chart. You can see that this is the bar chart or the column chart. If
Yeah.
you just click on it and choose any option that you want to, and it will create a chart likewise. So if you hover on any bar, you will be able to see. For example, if I hover on this bar, I can see that this is West region with beverages and this is the total sales over there. That's the point of having chart or a Excel visualization over here. Is that clear for everyone? So if you notice, I could easily visualize and analyze my data, and I can find out, see, I can find out that usually West region has the highest amount of sales. Compared to any other region, West region has the highest amount of sales. And that too, West region has highest sales in, I think it is in, let's see the category, it is in bakery. So bakery, West region has the highest amount of sales, and it is similar with eggs, meat, and fish and snacks as well. So I can find out these insights from the data using these pivot charts and tables. Okay, can you guys create similar views, and then we'll move to the next one. Okay, done, everybody? The data is the old data, Krishna. I'll just send it up. 1 second. Okay, so pivot tables are clear. Now, if I tell you to find, let's say I want you to find total orders placed versus average profit earned across each category and subcategory. Can you guys create this? Like, can you guys give me this information? Total orders placed and average profit earned across each category and subcategory. Can you guys help me with this? You can paste the screenshot once you're done in the chat box. I just want to see your fields and etc. Okay. Waiting for others. All right, I got 2, 3 answers. What about the rest of you guys? Okay, so it's pretty simple, right? I will take the entire data, okay, and I'll click on insert, then pivot table, and in existing worksheet, I'll place it over here. Click on OK, right? And then what do I want? That across each category and subcategory. So I can put category and I can put subcategory in the same rows, and it will come up as subdivisions over here, which is the best part. Okay. So across every category and subcategory. So let's remove NA, and I can find total orders placed. So order IDs count of order ID will be total order placed and average profit. So I'll drag profit over here. Now in this button, I'll just click on average and OK. And I'll get average profit. And if you want, you can format this, because whenever you work with average, right, the problem is you will get a lot of decimal places. So you can just format it to just 2 decimal places over here, or 1 decimal place likewise. So is pivot tables clear for everyone? Okay. The last topic is a little bit, the last topic is going to make your work with analysis a little bit more easier. Okay. And this is something that will only be available in Microsoft 365. And I think Excel 2021 and above, not in the other ones. So you have something called as add-ins. Okay. Those add-ins are something which are like toolkits. external toolkits of Excel, which basically help you, uh, you know, which help you analyze data in multiple form. Like if you see, I have one of the add-ins which says chat gpt for Excel. So these are like AI integrations that you can use inside Excel. The chat gpt for Excel is not a good one, so I don't recommend it to others, but you can definitely try on this one, which is called analyze data, right? So how do you get it is basically, give me a minute, let me tell you the toolkit name. Okay, so to get this at analyze data, if you see that icon over here in the home tab, you will see that after add-ins, you have analyze data. We will be using this because this is super easy to use. This is like an AI integration which actually helps you make your work much more easier. So you can click on add-ins, okay, and then in add-ins, the moment add-ins open up, you can choose. Okay, one second. Yes. So you can click on plus more add-ins. When you click on plus more add-ins, this official add-ins open up. Okay. And in this, you can choose and create and do all of that. If you see over here, there's an option called find more add-ins in Microsoft App Source. Click on that and it will basically open up a website. Okay, I'll open that website. Give me a minute. 1 second. Okay, so this website will open up when you click on add more add-ins and find more add-ins in Microsoft Source. If you open it up, this is the one that will open up. Now here you can search analysis. I think for me it is like already added, so it doesn't show up. But you will find it when you try to search it through Microsoft 365, and it will come up right over here, right? And it will show you the results related to it. Analysis toolpack, and you will get the one that is present over here. And when you open it, when you click on OK or get it now, it will get added in your Excel. And then you can use and I mean you can use that particular add-in for any analysis. Was that clear firstly? And what about others? Everybody clear? Okay. Going back to Excel, I'll show you how this helps. Okay. Now close. How this helps, I'll just show you. So what I'll do is I'll select my data. Okay, I'll select my data and I'll just click on analyze data. The add-in. Okay, I'll just click on that. And without even me giving any prompts, like how any other AI tool works, without me giving any prompts, it starts with discovering insights. Like it will tell you what is the profit by city category, shows you few graphs across frequency of discount, profit. If you want, you can give a prompt as well. Let's say you want to find total orders for each category. you don't even have to create a pivot for that. It will automatically within seconds generate it. Or let's say I want to find top three subcategory, subcategory. Just make sure that you're using the right column name, because this is not that smart like ChatGPT. It will understand even spelling mistakes. Okay. So top three subcategory with, let's say, highest profit. I'll just search this. And if you see, it finds me this. Without me doing any analysis, it already finds me that these are the top three subcategory with total highest profit over here. Right? So this is a good tool, right, to explore. So do you guys mind exploring this after the session is over? All right, that's great. So I'll just stop sharing my screen over here. Okay, so that was it about Excel. Did you guys enjoy the entire session, the entire module? Did you learn something new? No, online I don't think you will get it. If you have Microsoft 365, then yes, the subscription, or else no, you won't be able to try it. What I'll do is I'll send this Excel workbook so that you can always refer to this whenever you want to look at notes or anything of that sort. Okay. Any questions, any doubts before we close off?
I had one question. Actually, when we are analyzing the data or creating, like, any report or something through Excel, do we have to always remove the null values
Yeah, usually we
for data
remove,
cleaning?
obviously, yes, we will remove nulls and then we will analyze. But there are multiple methods of removing nulls. And for that, we need to know statistics a little bit, which we are yet to cover. That's why I didn't cover, missing values a lot. We just right now understood how to identify missing values. Right. I'll give you a small, quick way of handling it in Excel if you don't know statistics as well. Wherever it is blank, you can just label the blank as NA. Just simple NA. Right? I'll show you. Let me just show you up. 1 second. Let me go to the Excel again. Okay, I closed it off. Give me a minute. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that if you notice, I have identified blanks over here. So one way to deal with blanks is basically labeling them as NA. So wherever there is blank, you can just label them as NA. And you can use a function also called isBlank. So isBlank is a function which sees if a particular value is blank or not. So if it is false, that means it's not blank. If it is true, that means it is blank. Okay, like 1 second. If you just fill it in, you will see where it is blank and where it is not blank. So on top of this formula, you can use a if, normal if, that if is blank, then I will fill it up with NA, else whatever is the value of B2 automatically will come up. And see. If you now fill up the values, wherever it is null, instead of null, it will show NA. So this is a pretty basic way of handling nulls without even knowing any statistics for starters. Was that clear?
Okay. Yeah.
Another way of handling nulls is, see, for this you need to know statistics. Now, if I say this question might arise in your mind, why? But statistics will answer why, okay? Any which ways, but when there are categorical columns like for example category or subcategory, let's see if category has nulls. Yeah, category has nulls, right? So for this particular column, I can just insert a pivot table. Let's say I insert a pivot table somewhere over here. And for this category, I can find the count. right? I can find the count that how many blanks, blank obviously means that I've selected extra cells. So remove this. If you see, I have five nulls, okay? I have five nulls over here. I want to fill in these nulls. So statistics says that you can fill in nulls with something called as mode. Mode means frequency. Okay. So point being that if let's say you are doing a survey, okay, and you have 10 females for whom, I mean, you have 10 females and you have 8 males. Okay. You have 10 females and you have 8 males, and 3 customers have missing gender. Their gender is not available, it's missing. So statistics says that whatever is the highest frequency or the mode over here, or basically the most repetitive value, to be more clear, that whatever is the most repetitive value, which is females, right? Females are the most repetitive value because highest number of customers are females. I'm going to fill the same for the missing values. So the 3 customers who are missing, for them I can fill in females. That's a statistical measure of, again, a very pretty basic way of handling nulls, right? So what I can do is I can clearly see over here that if you notice over here, highest category is snacks. So wherever there is null, I can fill in it with snacks using the same formulas. So you got that? Is it clear?
Yeah, okay.
Others were also clear, right? I didn't want to confuse you with statistics before we learn statistics, but was it clear for everyone? Okay, cool. All right, anything else? Anyone? Any other questions? Any other doubts? I think Python and SQL will be next up. So, yeah.
Macro is useful in data analysis for Excel.
Sorry?
Macros in Excel.
Yeah, not for data analysis and the basic analysis, etc. But if you want to learn advanced level of handling data and etc., then obviously. But in simple ways, macros are used basically to automate tasks. That's the most I mean, that's the only use case of macro. Like for example, if you do a task, okay, let's say you have a raw worksheet, and on that worksheet you do a couple of formattings, you do a little bit of missing value treatments, you do some kind of let's say any kind of work that you do in that worksheet. Now let's say you have 10 more worksheets which are similar. You don't want to manually repeat those same steps in 10 worksheets. So in those cases, you will use macros. So it is actually not the work of analysis, it's the work of automation. That's why we use macros.
Yeah, so
Got
it
it?
is a kind of if you want to perform the repetitive task, so for every worksheet we are getting
Yes.
every time. So it's kind of automating the repetitive.
Yes, it's automation. It's complete automation. And actually, for automation right now, you don't even need macro. There is better options. If so, again with 365, you have better options because there is something called as Power Query, which even makes your work even more easier. Okay, and the Power Query is something that is associated with both Excel and Power BI. You should know this, that Power BI is built on top of Excel. Okay, so Power Query is a tool. It's a tool present for both Excel and Power BI. So any kind of data cleaning, formatting, transformations, any kind of those of the tasks can very easily be done in Power Query. So yeah, that's also one of the things. When you learn about Power BI, it will be covered. Okay, anything else, anyone? Okay, if nothing else, we can close off for today. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. I hope you liked the session. Thank you, and yeah, bye.